listen close, hear my thoughts in every note. Make me your radio and turn me up when you feel low. This melody was meant for you, so sing along to my stereo.
Class heroes, baby.
My name is David Malin, and this is CS50. 77% of the people around you here in this room have no prior experience, and that was the same way last year with your 494 predecessors, all of whom accomplished the sorts of things that you saw depicted in those screens there. There's a lot of misconceptions about computer science, that it is dominated by folks with their heads down at computer terminals, toiling away, completely antisocial, reputation that it is dominated by men and not so much women, and yet these are things that are changing. But the P-sets themselves are what make things quite memorable. On Friday, we look at this graphical language called Scratch, and you'll program for the very first time, I bet, quite intuitively by dragging puzzle pieces, little graphics that interlock only if it makes sense to do this and then that. And you'll be able to make, in just 2 days, your own graphics and games and interactive art in the context of this particular cat-based world. So 2 last year did students have to write their own cipher, an algorithm that encrypted and decrypted information so that you might indeed send a secret message to someone across the room. In problem set 3 last year, did students implement the game of 15, this otherwise silly party favor that you might have gotten where you move those numbers up, down, left, right, but in the context of a computer. And in problem set 4 last year, did students implement Sudoku using a graphics library with which you could get colors and lines and more interesting user interfaces. In problem set 5 last year, did I stroll across campus and taking photos of people and places and things, and like a doofus, I accidentally formatted my digital camera's compact flash card, but never fear, I made a forensic image of my camera, whereby we then gave every one of those 494 students a file, inside of which were all of the bits, all of the zeros and ones that composed the JPEGs that I had taken of things on campus. We handed it out, and they wrote software with which to recover those photos. And in problem set 6 last year, we implemented a spell checker. But a spell check took to load in 150,000 English words, to spell check the King James Bible, the Austin Powers movie script, and a whole bunch of other sample input. In problem set 7 last year, did we have students implement CS50 Finance, their own version of like an E-Trade-like website that's integrated with nearly real-time stock quote data with Yahoo Finance, so that you could buy and sell stocks and get nearly real-time stock quotes with your very own tool. And in problem set 8 last year, did we challenge students to implement CS50 Shuttle, which integrated a website that students wrote with a plugin by Google called Google Earth, which allowed them to implement their own shuttle service, whereby you could open a web browser here. You could then go to your keyboard and start driving around campus. The course culminates in this final project that is entirely your own to devise. And when you implement your final project, it will then be on display to, last year, some 2,000 students and faculty and staff across campus. And these are the kinds of takeaway today, that 77% of the people around you have no prior experience, and you too can accomplish the sorts of things that you've seen on display here, so that your faces too will look a little something like this over the next several months. But for now, cake awaits you outside. This is CS50, and we'll see you on Friday.